Have you ever thought that a single stroke of a brush could unravel $1 million secret? Brew a cup of coffee, sit down, and step into Blue Ridge Bites in Asheville, where Lena, a waitress with a broken heart, hides her painting talent beneath the dust of her grief over losing her sister. Victor, a real estate millionaire, sits there, wealthy but powerless before the silence of his disabled son, Theo. An unexpected drawing by Theo will change everything, revealing the truth and bridging lost hearts. Like, comment with where you're watching from, and let's explore together. The aroma of freshly baked cornbread fills the air of Blue Ridge Bites, a small diner nestled in the heart of Asheville, North Carolina, where the early morning sunlight glimmers through misty glass windows. The low hum of conversation blends with the clinking of spoons against cups, creating a familiar, intimate melody, like the heartbeat of this small town. Lena Whitaker, 36 years old, glides between tables with a gentle stride, her curly brown hair loosely tied back, a few stray strands falling as if to shield her melancholic eyes. Her smile, though warm to the patrons, carries an invisible distance, as if her heart is encased in the glass of her past. Once a promising artist in art school, Lena painted canvases as vibrant as flames, but that fire was extinguished after her sister's sudden death in a car accident. The pain, like an unhealed wound, led her to abandon her paintbrush, choosing the waitressing job as a refuge in the safety of repetitive days. Her hands, deftly carrying trays of coffee, still bear the memory of brushstrokes, as if they long to come alive again. Near the window, where sunlight spills onto the faded checkered floor, Victor Hayes sits in quiet contemplation, his expensive gray suit out of place in the diner's rustic setting. At 45, Victor is a real estate tycoon who has built glittering skyscrapers across the East Coast, but his heart is weighed down by a pain no wealth can alleviate. He gazes at his 11-year-old son, Theo, who has Down syndrome, sitting across from him, his small hands meticulously arranging straws and napkins into an intricate pattern. Theo's lines are strikingly precise, as if he's drawing an invisible map. Each straw is placed with absolute focus, his eyes alight with a passion Victor cannot reach. He leans forward slightly, trying to catch his son's gaze, but Theo remains immersed in his own world, unresponsive. Victor feels his chest tighten, memories of his late wife, lost to a terminal illness, and his childhood in an orphanage rising like a wave. He has built an empire, but in front of his son, he is merely a helpless father, unsure how to unlock the door to the boy's soul. Lena, while passing through the tables, pauses when her eyes catch the pattern on Theo's table. The straws are arranged into a skyline, like a city shimmering under moonlight, poetic and wondrous. A fleeting intuition, like a breeze stirring embers in her heart, prompts her to kneel beside the boy. She looks into Theo's clear eyes, seeing in them something greater than silence. With a gentle gesture, she smiles, her eyes encouraging, and speaks softly, her voice warm like autumn sunlight. Theo's face lights up, a rare spark flickering in his usually quiet eyes. Lena gently places a stack of napkins and a pen in front of him, as if offering a silent invitation. Theo touches the pen, his small fingers trembling, then begins to draw. Bold, decisive lines take shape on the paper, sketching a building with intricate details, sparkling windows, a curved dome, and a pointed spire reaching skyward as if to touch the heavens. Lena stands still, her heart pounding, as if she has just brushed against an unrevealed secret. The drawing is not merely the work of a child. It carries within it a story, a truth waiting to be uncovered. The following days at Blue Ridge Bites seemed draped in a new light, as if Theo's drawings had breathed life into the worn space of the small Asheville diner. Lena Whitaker, her heart still shadowed by the darkness of loss, found fragile solace in the clear eyes of the 11-year-old boy. Each morning she quietly placed a stack of paper and colored pencils before Theo, like sowing seeds of hope. Theo's drawings blossomed, from the winding streets of Asheville to bridges spanning a shimmering river, each stroke like a heartbeat pulsing in his silent world. One day, Lena paused, her breath catching as she saw a portrait of herself on the paper, her curly brown hair cascading, her eyes sparkling with a smile she had buried since her sister's tragic death in a car accident. The drawing, simple yet vivid, was like a mirror reflecting the person she once was, stirring a bittersweet ache in her heart. Victor Hayes, the father bearing the weight of his real estate empire, sat quietly at his usual corner table, his eyes filled with a mix of emotions as he watched Lena and his son. He admired her patience, the way she knelt beside Theo, guiding his strokes with a gentleness like autumn sunlight filtering through leaves. But within Victor, a deep void lingered, like a crumbling building in the city he had built. Memories of his wife, lost to a terminal illness, the long nights in an orphanage, and his powerlessness before Theo's silence pressed heavily on him, like a cold wind cutting through his chest. He longed to reach his son's world, but every gesture he made felt clumsy, like a stranger lost in his own home. One evening, as rain poured outside, the diner's lights cast a hazy glow like a veil of mist. The patrons had left, leaving a stillness broken only by the sound of rain tapping on the tin roof. Victor, instead of leaving as usual, lingered, quietly picking up a rag and stepping over to help Lena clean the last tables. She flinched slightly, her eyes flicking toward him, and when their hands brushed over the damp cloth, a small spark ran through them both. That moment, brief but intense, was like a flame flaring in the darkness, making Lena's heart pound. But instantly, fear from her past surged, like an invisible wall rising between her and Victor. She smiled, a fragile smile, then stepped back, letting the safe distance shield her unhealed wounds. Theo's drawings, meanwhile, began to radiate an uncanny allure. Patrons paused, whispering about the boy's astonishingly precise lines, as if each drawing was a piece of a larger mystery. Lena, noticing the diner's struggle with mounting debts, had a bold idea: to let Theo paint a mural, a vibrant cityscape to cover the faded wall of Blue Ridge Bites. The idea swept through like a breeze, drawing crowds of patrons and turning the diner into a bright spot in the heart of Asheville. But one afternoon, as Lena flipped through Theo's stack of papers, she froze, her breath trapped in her chest. Before her was a drawing, a building with a distinctive pointed spire, its details eerily precise, identical to a design stolen from Victor's company years ago, a theft that cost him millions and remained an unhealed wound. Lena gripped the paper, her fingers trembling, her heart racing with both astonishment and dread. She brought the drawing to Victor, whose eyes shifted from disbelief to tension, as if he had just touched a buried secret. Lena softly suggested, her voice trembling slightly, that perhaps Theo had unwittingly recreated something he saw in his father's office. The discovery was like a bolt of lightning tearing through the sky, igniting hope of unraveling a mystery, but also casting a vague unease, like a cloud drifting across autumn sunlight. The vibrancy that Theo's drawings brought to Blue Ridge Bites now spreads like a small flame, illuminating an entire community in Asheville. The photographs of the boy's mural, with sharp lines that seemed to tell a wordless story, have been shared widely by locals on social media, turning Theo's talent into a phenomenon. But amidst that light, a sudden cloud casts a shadow over Lena Whitaker as a viral post distorts her kindness. That post, like a cold, sharp knife, accuses her of exploiting Theo's artwork for personal fame, twisting her sincerity into selfish ambition. In Lena's heart, pain flares up, as if an old wound from her sister's death has been reopened. She had once let her own art die out of fear of failure, and now the skeptical gazes from those around her serve as a reminder that opening her heart always comes with risks. She feels her heart constrict, like a flower closing up before a storm, afraid that all her efforts will only lead to another failure. The doubt deepens when a colleague, with eyes glinting with envy, quietly spreads a rumor that Lena is digging into Victor's past for personal gain. That whisper, though small, is like a drop of ink falling into water, spreading and clouding everything around it. Lena, who once believed that the moments spent with Theo were where she rediscovered a part of herself, now feels as though she's been pushed into a dark corner. She wonders if she was too naive, if her kindness was merely a doorway to pain. That fear, like an invisible thread, pulls her back. She stops answering Victor's calls, each ring feeling like an accusation, causing her to retreat into a safe shell. She doesn't want to face his gaze, fearing it might hold suspicion, or worse, disappointment. Meanwhile, Victor Hayes faces a storm of his own. He stands before Theo's silence, the boy who has stopped drawing, his colored pencils now lying still on the table like fragments of a shattered dream. Lena's absence, like an unfillable void, makes Victor realize how much he had relied on her. She was the bridge between him and his son, the one who saw the light in Theo that he, with all his wealth and power, could not reach. The pain of losing his wife, memories of lonely days in an orphanage, and his helplessness as a father now blend together, forming a surging wave in his chest. He wonders if he has the strength to bridge the gap with Theo, or if he will forever remain a father on the sidelines of his son's life. The doubt about Lena, though fleeting, fills him with shame, but he cannot deny that the whispers have planted a seed of unease in his heart. The truth gradually comes to light when a patron, with a remorseful expression, admits to posting the photo of the mural, intending only to promote the restaurant. That confession, like a ray of sunlight piercing through dark clouds, clears up the misunderstanding. Victor, fueled by newfound resolve, seeks out Lena at the park near the French Broad River. He finds her standing there, her eyes lost as if drowning in an inner ocean. The fear of opening her heart chokes her, each memory of her sister like a heavy stone dragging her down. Victor approaches, his voice trembling but filled with emotion, like a weary traveler finding light after a long night. He apologizes, not just for the misunderstanding, but for letting his own fears create a barrier between him and what matters most. He admits that he needs her, not only for Theo, but for himself, the man who has been running from his own heart for too long. Lena looks at him, her eyes shimmering with tears, as if a part of her wants to believe, to step forward. But fear still holds her back, like an invisible chain, keeping her from speaking a single word. In that moment, they both stand in silence, on the fragile boundary between hope and hurt, like two lost boats in a storm, yet to find their shore. Dear audience, take a moment to relax or grab a glass of water, then continue listening to the story. There are still surprising twists ahead. Comment with the number 1 if you find the story engaging, so we know you're still with us. The Asheville Community Art Festival erupts like a blazing fire. illuminating the small streets with colors and sounds as if the entire city is breathing a shared dream. Blue Ridge Bites, the small restaurant teetering on the brink of closure, becomes the focal point of hope, with Theo's mural as the soul of the event. But in the days leading up to the festival, Lena Whitaker feels her heart trapped in a maze of fear and doubt. She has withdrawn, avoiding Victor's gaze and the heartbreaking silence of Theo, who has stopped drawing, as if his colored pencils have lost their magic. Lena, carrying the wounds of her sister's death, feels that every step closer to Theo and Victor is another confrontation with the risk of loss. She locks herself in spiraling thoughts, questioning whether she is worthy of the trust Theo has placed in her, or if she is merely deceiving herself with fragile hope. One morning, as Lena rummages through her coat pocket for her keys, her fingers brush against a neatly folded piece of paper. She opens it, and her heart seems to stop. It is a sketch by Theo, its trembling lines brimming with emotion, depicting three figures, her, Victor, and him, holding hands under a twinkling star-filled sky. The image, simple yet powerful, pierces through the darkness like a ray of light, melting the invisible wall Lena had built around her heart. The drawing is more than paper and ink. It is a silent plea from Theo, as if he is saying that she belongs to them, that she is part of his world. The fear in Lena, once as unyielding as stone, now crumbles, giving way to a warmth like an autumn breeze carrying the scent of leaves. She knows she can no longer run. Clutching the drawing tightly, she rushes to the festival, her heart pounding, determined to find Theo and complete what they had started. At the festival, amidst the vibrant crowd, Lena finds Theo standing before the half-finished mural. The boy, with quiet but radiant eyes, holds a pencil as if waiting for a miracle. Lena kneels beside him, no words needed. Her presence alone is enough to reignite the light in Theo. Together they pick up the brushes, his precise lines blending with Lena's bold strokes of color, like a dance between meticulousness and passion. The mural gradually takes shape, a vision of a vibrant Asheville, winding streets, misty hills, and a sky that seems to embrace every dream. The crowd around them falls silent, then erupts in gasps of awe, as if witnessing a miracle born from the small hands of a boy and the rekindled heart of a woman. Meanwhile, Victor Hayes, his mind reeling from Theo's mysterious drawing of a stolen building, dives into an investigation like a traveler seeking light in the darkness. The drawing, with its distinctive spire and intricate details, stirs a vague memory of a document he once saw in the office. He sifts through old files, his heart racing as he realizes a former employee who had access to the designs had quietly sold them to a competitor. Theo's drawing, like the final piece of a puzzle, becomes the key to uncovering a fraud that cost his company millions. Victor stands still, staring at his son's ink lines, realizing that Theo's talent lies not only in art, but in an extraordinary intuition, as if the boy can see truths that adults overlook. This discovery, like a gust of wind clearing the fog, brings hope of saving his empire, but more importantly, it makes Victor see Theo in a new light, no longer just a boy to be protected, but a soul with boundless possibilities. In that moment, Victor feels his heart lighten, as if he is drawing closer to his son, even if just by a small step. In the heart of the art festival, Lena Whitaker, Victor Hayes, and young Theo stood at a silent turning point, where once wavering hearts found each other in the light of sincerity. Lena, who had locked her soul away after inconsolable losses, felt fear like an underground stream, quiet but always ready to sweep away any hope. Theo's drawing, depicting the three of them holding hands under a shimmering sky, touched her like a reminder of the dreams she had buried. Each of the boy's strokes was a knife reopening memories of her sister, of the days she painted with all her passion, only to abandon it when the pain grew too great. But now, in Theo's presence, Lena felt a new breeze, gentle yet resolute, urging her to face herself, as if she stood before a door waiting to be opened. As the festival reached its peak, with the crowd's eyes fixed on the mural, Theo quietly stepped toward Lena, his small hands clutching a piece of paper as if holding a precious secret. She unfolded it, and her heart seemed to stop before a portrait. Not the Lena of weary diner days, but a woman with a radiant smile, eyes bright as moonlight. The drawing, simple yet vibrant, was like a small flame igniting in the darkness, reviving the image of the Lena she once was, a dreamer, a creator. When Theo spoke, his voice soft but steady, calling her family, a wave of emotion surged within Lena. She pulled the boy into her arms, tears falling silently, not from sorrow, but from a sense of belonging, as if she had just found a missing piece of herself. That moment, like a bridge spanning a chasm, helped Lena overcome her fear, letting her realize that her heart, though once broken, could still beat for love. Victor, standing a few steps away, felt his chest tighten as he witnessed the moment between Lena and his son. He had built towering skyscrapers, but before Theo he was just a clumsy father, carrying the scars of a loveless life. Losing his wife to illness, growing up in an orphanage, he had once thought Theo's silence was an impassable divide, like a stone wall between father and son. But as he knelt beside the boy, looking into Theo's shining eyes, he saw a world he had never fully understood. A world of innocence and boundless talent. His voice trembled, like someone finding a way out after years of being lost, as he said he had truly seen his son. When Theo's small hand touched his, a simple gesture but like a beam of light, Victor felt a part of his soul mend. The distance that once seemed like an ocean now narrowed, like a small stream finding its way to the sea. The mural, with Theo's meticulous lines and Lena's bold colors, became a beacon of hope, drawing the gaze of investors and saving Blue Ridge Bites from the brink of collapse. But more than that, it sparked a greater dream, a community art center for children with disabilities, where Lena led with her newly awakened heart, Victor funded with newfound faith, and Theo's talent was the flame inspiring others. Lena, once afraid of her own light, rediscovered her purpose as she picked up her brush, guiding other children to find their voice through art. Victor, once lost in his empire, learned to be a present father, letting go of past shadows to embrace the present. In that moment, they were no longer just individuals, but a family bound by sincerity, like strokes blending on a larger canvas, a painting of love and hope. As the art festival draws to a close, the three of them stand together, no longer fragmented lives adrift, but like a painting crafted from strokes of love, bound by choice rather than blood. Lena, who once caged her heart in the iron bars of pain, now feels a gentle light seeping into her soul. The loss of her sister, like a scar that never fades, once made her fear her own light. But now, Theo's presence, with his simple yet vibrant drawings, is like a cool stream, washing away the dust that had settled over her passion for painting. Each time she looks into the boy's sparkling eyes, Lena sees not only innocence, but also a silent promise that she can live again, not as a waitress lost in routine, but as an artist daring to dream grand dreams. Victor, who once wandered aimlessly amidst skyscrapers and nameless loneliness, now stands beside his son with a lighter heart than ever before. The years spent growing up in an orphanage, the pain of losing his wife to illness, and the helplessness before Theo's silence were once thorny ropes binding him tightly. But now, looking at Theo, he sees a radiant soul, whose drawings are not just art, but a way for the boy to communicate with the world. Fatherhood, once an unsolvable puzzle, has become a journey he walks with patience and love. Each touch of Theo's hand, each glance he offers, is like a small door opening, leading Victor to a place he never knew, a place where love doesn't require contracts or success to exist. The Community Arts Center, born from the festival's flame, becomes a beacon, illuminating the path for children like Theo, where every talent, no matter how small, is cherished. Lena, with a paintbrush in hand, leads the center with a newly awakened passion, as if she is repainting her own life's story. Her paintings, once imprisoned by the fear of failure, now flow like a river, telling tales of healing, faith, and the power of simple moments. Victor, with an open heart, turns that dream into reality, no longer a cold businessman but a father, a companion, finding joy in the radiant eyes of children inspired by Theo. The boy, with his unassuming drawings, becomes a symbol of innocence and boundless potential, like a gentle breeze passing through, reminding everyone that all limits can be broken. The aroma of cornbread, once the heartbeat of Blue Ridge Bites, now carries a deeper meaning, a reminder that love doesn't need grandiose words, only sincere presence. Lena, Victor, and Theo, three seemingly disparate lives, now blend like colors on a canvas, where each finds the truest version of themselves. Lena is reborn through art. Victor discovers meaning in fatherhood, and Theo, with his innocent strokes, proves that every heart can speak, if only it is heard. Their story, like a small flame spreading through Asheville, ignites a message that every wound can heal, and every talent can shine if given trust. Dear friends, let this story touch your heart. Share it with those around you. Leave a comment about what moved you, and together, spread the light of love, compassion, and hope, so the world knows that miracles always begin with the smallest moments. The story of Lena, Victor, and Theo is a reminder that love and compassion can heal the deepest wounds. From Theo's simple drawings, a family was formed, a community was inspired, and broken hearts found light. The lesson here is simple. Every talent, no matter how small, can shine if given trust, and every pain can heal when we dare to be present for one another. Let this story inspire you to believe that small actions can create miracles. Thank you to everyone across the United States for joining me on this journey. Please hit the like button, share this story with your loved ones, and leave a comment sharing what touched your heart. Where are you watching from, and what time is it now? Let's spread the message of love and hope together, making this world a warmer place.